Hello again, this is Ben with Apex Renovations. I'm coming to you from a 4-unit we recently purchased in Lombard, Illinois. So the project of today was to upgrade the electrical panel. So I'm in the very hot utility room. We've got the boiler over here in the corner. Not doing a lot right now, but these still tend to put out a lot of heat. So the issue was when we purchased the property, they had fuse panels, and while technically those are acceptable, they're to code, and if used properly, they're just as safe as modern circuit breakers. The issue becomes if for some reason somebody puts the wrong fuse into a given slot, it becomes a potential safety hazard. So in fact, as we were doing the inspection before we purchased the property, we were discussing that exact scenario with the inspector, and he opens one of the panels and says, "Hey, look at this here. We have a 15 amp line with a 30 amp fuse in it." So that means that we would have to pump more than 30 amps of power through that line in order to burn out the fuse and shut off power. But the wiring was only meant to handle 15 amps, so you could end up with a fire hazard, risk of shock, things like that. So as a matter of course, we typically try to upgrade the panels if it's at all practical for us. In this case, it was pretty easy access. So I'll flip you around here so you can see. So in the corner we used to have the 5 fuse panels, one for each unit, and then a main for our utility space and exterior lighting and the laundry. So we're now upgraded to circuit breakers. So now if anybody has an issue, they run a hairdryer and a microwave and the refrigerator all at the same time and it trips a breaker, tenants can easily come down and flip it back on after they've remedied the situation, as opposed to a fuse where the fuse would burn out and then have to go replace it and be very careful about putting it back in correctly. So these are just a lot more user-friendly, much lower risk of shock or fire hazard and things like that. But as straightforward as this project was, they couldn't make it too easy for us. It turned out that where we needed to place the panel for unit number 1, that's right where the dryer used to vent. So we've now moved it up here. It was down here. Not the biggest deal in the world, but we're limited by how much wiring we have coming from the meter to the panel. So it had